How nice was this moment, this close for you? Kind of in a new situation to have a finish like that.
It was nice. It was nice to be a part of that, and Steph hitting that shot to force overtime, and for us to find a way to win the game, it feels really good.
How about that part of it? The Steph aspect and just being on the Warriors. How unique is the feel of being out there in that type of environment with them?
Yeah, I mean it's. And those are difficult shots, shots that that you need those to go down, and to be a part of that, it's pretty special. Playing these type of games, it's a great team, one of the best teams in our league, and for us to be able to find a way to win that's pretty special.
Al, you talked a lot about you picked this position, this team, because you knew they had a chance to play special games. You obviously played against them. And when you're in the middle of it, you're seeing Steph do that, Jimmy do that, you're hitting a three. At any point you're going, yeah, this is why I'm here, this is why I picked this situation?
Yeah, I mean, it's, I'm fortunate to be in this position. And for these moments, it's what you play for, and understanding that, that we still have a long ways to go. But to be able to come here and take, Denver was great tonight. Aaron Gordon was great, and everything they were doing to take their best shot and still be there and manage to get it to overtime, and be a part of this game. It's what I'm excited to be here for.
Al, your first official game here as a Warrior with this home crowd. Just what do you think of the environment, especially late in regulation and into overtime?
Energy was great. Fans were really into it and helping us. Just a very, very fun atmosphere, and different guys coming in and contributing. And we talked about the Steph shots, but then Jimmy hits that big three from the top of the key, and that was also a special play. But just in general, all the guys coming in and we're trying to do our part, and just a lot of fun to be a part of that.
Last one over here on the left.
Steph said that jumbo lineup that closed in overtime, you guys had never practiced together in that lineup. How are you guys able to be so seamless in overtime, just know each other's movements and everything?
I mean, we're kind of fighting for our lives there. At the end, just trying to get stops, trying to do whatever we can on the defensive end, and then on offense, just continuing to figure it out. And playing off of Steph, playing off of Draymond and Jimmy, and I'm just, I was just trying to be out there trying to make plays, but for us, it's just playing to win. And with that lineup, even though we haven't played together, that was the feeling behind it. Defensively, we wanted to do a good job defensively, and then on offense, making sure that we're getting to space and that we're getting good looks and we're not turning the ball over.
Draymond, what worked about that big lineup that you guys closed with, and had you ever, in your mind, imagined that's going to be a closing lineup for you guys?
I did think that was a possibility to be a closing lineup or a starting lineup or a middle of the game lineup. But I think what worked, we had proper spacing. We were able to get a lot of stops. We switched a lot, kept bodies on bodies. And then that group was really able to come up with the rebounds. So down the stretch, they had one shot. If they didn't make it, we were off to the races. So I think defensively it was really good for us. And then everybody just found the proper spacing to allow us to make the plays. And, we made the plays down the stretch, and obviously Steph was incredible. Jimmy made a couple huge plays down the stretch, including the shot. Al, big shot. J.K. was hawking Murray still, so that steal and finish he came up with was great. So we had, we was able to put it all together there at the end with that group.
Draymond, Steph was pretty emotional. He missed that three, and he was encouraging the crowd to get going. He says, I don't like to shoot free throws with the crowd quiet. What kind of player is he that he can just kind of rise to the occasion and the fans can fuel him like they did tonight? I mean, he's obviously does it himself, but the fans too.
Yeah, he loved the moment. That's just who he's been since I've known him. The bigger the moment, the more he rises. he's this quiet guy. We all know Steph, right, how he is. But he loved the show. I think, and so anytime it's a show to be put on, he's going to do it. And, he did that tonight in a major way.
Draymond over here, you and Steph have been together for
Look at
over
you.
a decade.
The hell you been?
What's up?
Wow, good to see you.
Now, if you can remember my name, then I'll really be
Nate.
impressed. All right.
All right, like am I idiot? You guys just think I'm dumb. It's crazy. You want a last name too, Duncan? Huh?
That's right. All right. You and Steph have been together for over a decade. Jamal Murray and Jokic have been together for that long. Al and Butler are great, great vets as well. Can you tell me about what it was like, just the mental side of the game in crunch time with all that experience on the floor?
Yeah, I think just having that much experience, you just kind of know what to do, and there's no panic. I think that's the most important part. You get down those last few minutes of the game or in overtime, a lot of times people get sped up, and oftentimes that's due to the pressure, and lack of experience, and, we don't lack that at all. And so everybody, with the familiarity of being in those moments, we knew exactly what we needed to get to. And, that's why you want experience and on your team for moments like that. Moments, nobody was unfamiliar to the moment for us. And I think that was as big as anything. So we were locked in, able to make the plays we needed to make. But, the experience in moments like that helps a ton.
50 points and 10 threes for Aaron Gordon. You played him in the playoffs a few years ago. How have you seen his game, and particularly his shot, change?
He's improved a ton. I've known AG for a long time now. I used to have grind week, and I used to do grind week here in Oakland, or not here, but in Oakland. He was young. He used to come every year, and you just watch him improve. He got to Denver, and he was the missing piece to a championship. When they got him, it kind of solidified all of their lineups. To his credit, he's continued to work, continued to get better and better and better. Like you said, 50 points tonight, 10 for 11 from three. Like they weren't just like spot up threes either. Like he had a couple of them off the dribble, a couple of them like people pinning in for him. They were all different threes, and he was knocking them down. But I'm not sure if he shot 40% last year, but he was shooting the mess out of it for quite a while in the season. So the improvement is consistent. It's not like it's just out of nowhere. Like he's consistently got better and better and better. And you got to tip your hat to him. He was amazing tonight. But he's been that steady force. Obviously, Joker is who he is, right? Obviously, Jamal is who he is, but he's been that steady force outside of those two guys for this group, and that's the reason they're champions and continue to be one of the better teams in this league.
Steph said that down the stretch and in overtime, you guys nobody was calling any plays. It was just, you're just kind of making it up as you go. How unusual is that just for you guys and in the NBA too?
It's not very unusual for us. We hardly ever call stuff in my career. Steve usually calls something, but we just go. And, again, just going back to the experience, right? Like we didn't need to call anything. We kind of just played off each other. You saw the matchup we wanted, get to that, get to space, and then let the next guy make the play. We have 5 guys on the court that can make a play. And so somebody's open, you move the ball and allow that guy to make the next play. And that's what we did. I don't think you get to that point in the game, you got to let your greats be great. And we got the ball to Steph, we got the ball to Jimmy, and they made plays over and over again. So and they did the same thing, right? Like they got the ball to AG, they got the ball to Joker, they got the ball to Jamal. And we were able to get a couple stops that we needed, but nobody's calling a bunch of plays right there. You get the ball in the hands of your better players, and they're going to take you home.
Draymond, you're obviously very aware of what's going on around the league, and for talking about today's news on the gambling, and for many years, the league and all sports leagues distance themselves from gambling. How inevitable do you think something like this was, given the partnerships with gambling companies, and What was sort of your reaction to the news today?
My reaction to the news, I was shocked. I woke up to that news, and I overslept for shoot-around. So when I woke up, I couldn't really check in on it because I was trying to get here. And, I got here, and they're like, man, you see everything that happened? Like, not quite. Like, I only knew about Terry. But, I think when, you take a look, like, the business is the business. I'm not going to sit here and condemn the league for partnering with gambling sports betting companies. Like, the business is the business. And, it is what it is. I think, I wish everybody well. It's a tough moment for the individuals involved. It's a tough moment for the league. But I'm not going to sit here and be like, man, y'all partner with a gambling company. You open a can of worms. Like, that can of worms can be open with partnering with gambling companies or not. Partnering with gambling companies ain't make gambling more accessible to us. The accessibility is what it is. If you're an American or you live in America and you live in states where gambling, sports betting is legal, it pops up right on your phone. Whether the league is partnered with the company or not ain't changing nothing. So I think those partnerships are going to continue to grow. But I still live here, and it, Governor Newsom, I wish I could get on my phone and bet on a football game. But, that's just the nature of the world we live in, so we're not going to go condemn a Facebook executive because some of their stuff pops up on Polymarket or, any of those, so I'm not going to sit here and, our league has done an incredible job of growing this game. Partnerships come when you grow the game. And for all of us, from ownership to players, it grows the pot. And I haven't heard anyone complain about the pot growing. So I'm not going to sit here and act like the league the league been partnered with Bud Light forever. They ain't start me to drinking beer, So, it's unfortunate for the guys involved. I'm praying for them and wish them well. But sports betting is going to be around. And, the partnerships will keep happening as they should. But the accessibility is the accessibility. And the Golden State Warriors is sponsored by Mercedes-Benz. I don't have a Mercedes-Benz. I got a nice Kia deal, which has been absolutely incredible to me. But my point, there's that, right? Like,
well, that's certainly part of my question. I guess the accessibility has changed too over the years, right?
Yeah.
Back to what it was like earlier.
And it's going to keep changing. Like, more and more states is going to become legal, so that's not going away. If anything, it's going to go further in the direction that it's already headed. And so I don't think any of it is, man, the league start taking the spot. I don't think so. I think sometimes people get in unfortunate situations and everyone makes decisions. I'm not saying that those people made the decisions. I don't know. I'm not getting off into that. But I just know that those partnerships are going to keep growing as they should. It ain't changing the accessibility. The accessibility is what it is. We don't get a free FanDuel or Fanatics. We don't get a free Fanatics Sportsbook password. We just don't. Like, the accessibility is what it is. So I can't blame that on the league. That's just what it is.
Steph, I know it's very early, but to be 2-0 to get through this one and the way you guys did, how are you feeling about this start?
There's 80 games left, so you kind of understand you don't want to get too ahead of yourself, but building blocks on an understanding of how to win, the selflessness of a team that can have 8 or 9 guys in a closing lineup, realistically. I was telling somebody. I don't think that closing lineup, Al, Jimmy, Draymond, JK, and myself had gotten any real reps in training camp. But when you understand who you're playing against and what it takes to win this particular game, the collective IQ and just toughness got us over the hump. So great start. Haven't done anything yet, but we're building a winning mentality.
I was going to say, what did you think worked about that group? It's a pretty big group. I don't know who the shooting guard on that group is. What went well for that group?
I mean, Aaron Gordon had an unbelievable night shooting the ball. So we tried to keep some size on him. And then, Al, we've seen it again, playing against him for years. He's pretty good switching 1 through 5. And so it allowed us a little bit more versatility on defense to just, keep a man on the ball and not have to be in crazy rotations. Obviously, they scored some points, but then on the other end, we were just really decisive on getting to our spots. We only had 8 turnovers in a game, overtime game. And so if you get shots up, you don't give, especially a team like Denver, easy baskets in transition, then you give yourself a good chance.
Hey, Steph, are these early season wins important? Now, obviously, any win's important, but to kind of avoid the late season rush that you guys had the hard push last year?
I'll let you know after game 30, because I answered that last year.
Also, you noticed that Jimmy missed a free throw tonight, and you didn't?
I can neither confirm nor deny anything that's going on with free throw situations this year.
Steph, Steve Kerr has mentioned when it comes to turnovers, spacing has a lot to do with it. Obviously, like you said, only 8 turnovers tonight. I guess what did you think of your guys' spacing tonight, and how was it different from the preseason and even the game in LA? We've been working on an identity offensively that no matter where you're at on the floor, you kind of have actions that you can go to, and we have patterns that we're developing. Al hit 2 big threes, I think, in the second half, maybe in the fourth quarter in overtime, where he's spacing the corner and we get a drive down the lane, JK following the help to the basket. You got to pick your poison on that. And so as long as we are, like you said, organized and decisive and not in a rush, then we have options all over the floor. So it's nice to play that way. When it's not really choreographed, it's just patterns that you rely on.
Gordon hits that 3 late in regulation to go up 3. Are you going into that next possession just, thinking first, moment that you get space, you're firing up the 3, or how did that kind of develop?
Because I missed that layup, and then we were up 1. No.
He hit the 3 to go, I think it was 120-117, and then you hit the deep one to tie it.
Oh, we were up 1, I missed, and he hit a 3, and then went up. No, you're right. It was tied. So our pick and roll was just trying to get them to either get 2 on the ball, and then I could either get the pocket pass or get around. And that one I was able to kind of do a little snake, and I saw just a little bit of daylight. Again, decisiveness, no second guessing what you're doing, just trying to get a clean look. Thankfully went in, and then that last one was just good chemistry between me and Draymond.
What did you think about Gordon's night?
It was ridiculous. And whatever he did this summer, it worked.
Will Richard played some big minutes tonight. Steve Kerr said it's a show-me kind of league. What has he been able to show so early on into the season?
There's something about, winning players at whatever level. He's a champion for a reason down there in Florida. We saw with LJ in the preseason, guys who played some significant high-stakes basketball in college. Like, that still matters. I know the league has gotten younger in the draft, but when you find a guy like that just understands basketball, he sees the game really well. He's fearless. The lights aren't too bright for him, so he knows he's got a lot of growth ahead of him. But for him to make his presence felt like that jump ball, 50-50 ball, come down, hit a 3, start talking.
rebounds he got, like all that stuff matters because it lifts the whole group. So it's pretty special to watch him, in preseason and these last 2 games do his thing.
Steph, you got fouled on that 3, and when you get up, you summoned the crowd, and they really responded. How much do you just feed off of this home crowd here in your 17th season?
Some people like a little quiet at the free throw line. I don't like that. When a foul happens, it kind of gets a little dead, and you time and score, like that was a cool moment. So needed that energy to finish the game.
I mean, do you consider yourself a showman, and just in terms of like playing in front of the home crowd and putting on a show for Chase?
I just like to have fun, no matter what the situation is. So, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Steph, I guess even at your more advanced age, you still consider the babyface assassin. What did it mean to you to see Aaron Gordon have basically the game of his life? He scores 50 points on opening night for them, and they still don't win the game.
He played his out of his mind. I'm sure, when you're in that kind of zone, I don't know how he talk about it. He probably expects it, just because of the work he put in over the summer. But for a championship-type team like they are, a team that has a lot of continuity from year to year, and then you have a guy like that play the way he did, and for us to still win, like that says a lot about where we're at right now. But it also says we got a lot of work to do to, keep doubling down on just finding a way to win no matter what the situation is. It's kind of like a playoff-type vibe where somebody has an out-of-body experience, and you dig deep and, steal one pretty much. And that says a lot about what we're trying to do.
Hey, Steph, you're an important face of the league. How concerned are you about what happened today and just how it might impact the NBA's integrity?
I think on the whole, everybody is very mindful of, what to do, what not to do, and understanding the landscape of sports right now in general, and that's not just an NBA thing. It's this is new territory for everybody. So I think on the whole, we all are very responsible. The integrity of the game is fine, and then obviously we'll let the situation play out, whatever happens. But I wouldn't worry about that too much.
You mentioned Denver as a championship-type team and what you guys are trying to build towards. Do you feel like you guys are a championship-type team, or too early to say?
It's game 2, man. Long way to go.
Stephen, is it fun to go blow by blow with a guy like Aaron Gordon tonight when they're putting up 50 and you're coming back, he's hitting them, you're hitting them? Is that fun to have that kind of?
Just the game reveals itself in terms of what you need to do. At the end of the day, he was going crazy in the first half, kept it going, and then down the stretch, like it was, again, decisiveness, just trying to figure out how to get the best shot on every possession. I don't necessarily look at it as, a one-on-one type back and forth battle, but so the game called for us to kind of abandon any, fancy play calls and just get to spots where we could try to pick them apart. And, I was able to finish a lot of the possessions just because that's the way the game went. So talent like that and a game like that rises the level of the whole arena, on both sides. So you kind of feel that for sure.
How cool was it, you ending regulation and then going into overtime, that stretch that you had, but for Jimmy to kind of have the dagger and for you to pull out kind of the night-night celebration for him? How was that moment to have with him?
It's just team basketball, man. Like, the reason he got that shot was because we had kind of been really methodical, possession after possession, and they ran out of stuff to guard, and, him taking that shot was huge. And Draymond last year when we played Minnesota, he pulled the signature move out. I thought Jimmy was going to do it. He left me on an island. But I appreciated the moment because he knows what it means to close out a game too.
Steph, you talked a little bit earlier about that closing lineup with Al in there. How important will that be in the long run over the season to have that option of closing, adding a guy who's 6'9" and can shoot threes and guard a guy like Jokic? It seems like that gives you guys flexibility you haven't had in the past.
That was the vision the whole time. We've played against him. We understand what he did in Boston, Atlanta, everywhere he's been. I still have flashbacks of Game 1 and 22. It's just, he understands what it means to impact the game on both ends. He's fearless as well. So, again, you probably have 7, 8 guys that you could theoretically finish a game with on our team. And it just depends on what the game calls for, and I think he understands on a night-to-night basis to be ready for whatever. And he's seen it all, so you don't really have to prepare him too much for, the unpredictability of it all. He just knows and sees the game so well. Again, we didn't really have a play call down the stretch. It was just get to your spots, figure it out, make the right play, knock down a shot, talk on defense, do what you need to do, and he's really good at that.
Quinton Post reveals what Stephen Curry did that mattered more than scoring. Quinton Post is quickly becoming one of the most intriguing young talents on the Golden State Warriors roster. In his rookie season, he quietly made a name for himself, shooting an impressive 40.8% from three-point range and averaging 8.1 points per game. As a modern stretch big, he's carved out a valuable role in the Warriors' rotation, and he's not done yet. During the preseason, Post continued to show his offensive potential, especially in a standout performance against the Portland Trail Blazers where he dropped 16 points, including 3 three-pointers. But when asked about his recent success, Post didn't take the credit for himself. Instead, he pointed to one major factor: Stephen Curry. "What you saw out there, that's just the effect of having Steph Curry on the floor," Post said. "He makes everything so much easier for everyone on offense. And defensively, I think we handled things much better than the last time we faced them." The game marked Curry's return after missing the previous matchup against the Lakers. And he didn't disappoint, putting up 28 points and leading the Warriors to a 118-111 win over Portland. "This was a big statement game for him," Post added. "He sat out last game, and then came back and just took over. He said something before tip-off that really stuck with me. But more than anything, it's his leadership, the way he sets the tone, that makes the biggest difference." While Curry leads the way offensively, Post is focused on improving where it really matters for his position: rebounding. Despite his offensive contributions, Post pulled down only 2 defensive rebounds in the game, not enough, he admits, for a player in his role. "We did a better job controlling the pace, but we still had too many turnovers. And on defense, I'm not even sure what the rebounding numbers were. I just know I need to be better. That's my priority right now, becoming a more effective rebounder." Last season, Post faced criticism for his defensive inconsistency. He knows that if he wants to keep growing and solidify his role long-term, that's the area he has to improve. Fortunately, he's not doing it alone. With the mentorship of Al Horford, who shares a similar playing style as a stretch 5, Post is in the right environment to evolve. If he continues to develop, especially on the defensive end, Quinton Post could be a key piece in the Warriors' rotation for years to come. And with Steph Curry leading by example, he's got one of the best blueprints in the game to learn from. But what makes Post's comments so striking isn't just his humility, it's the deeper acknowledgement of how Stephen Curry continues to reshape the game without always needing to light up the scoreboard. For a young player like Post, recognizing the power of Curry's off-ball move, leadership, and court gravity shows a level of maturity that's catching the attention of coaches and analysts alike. Internally, sources close to the team say the coaching staff has been impressed with Post's approach during training camp. While his shooting numbers draw the headlines, it's his willingness to learn and take ownership of his weakness, like rebounding and defensive, that's earned him growing respect in the locker room. In particular, his openness about needing to improve on the glass has resonated with veterans like Draymond Green and Kevin Looney, who have both taken on mentoring roles with him in recent weeks. During practices, Post has been seen working closely with assistant coaches focusing on boxing out drills, rebounding reads, and interior footwork, a sign that he's committed to rounding out his game. Outside of the Warriors camp, Post's preseason performance and his comments about Curry sparked interest across NBA media. Analysts on national shows highlighted the quote about Curry making everything easier, using it as yet another example of the intangible impact the two-time MVP has on his teammates. Former players and commentators have also pointed out that this kind of awareness, especially from a rookie, is rare, and could signal that Post has the mindset to stick in the league. "You don't hear a lot of young bigs talking like that," said one analyst during a post-game breakdown. He understands the game beyond just stats. That's huge. Looking ahead, the Warriors see Post as a potential long-term piece, someone who can eventually fill a similar role to Al Horford, a smart, versatile big who stretches the floor, moves the ball, and plays within the system. If he can elevate his rebounding and improve his defensive reads, he may even find himself closing games down the line. For now, though, Post remains focused on the next step. "There is still so much I need to work on," he said after the win over Portland. "But being around guys like Steph, Draymond, Looney, it's helping me grow faster. I just want to keep earning my minutes." As the regular season approaches, all eyes will be on whether Post can carry his preseason momentum into meaningful games. And if he does, with Curry still drawing defenders and opening lanes, the Warriors might have found a valuable new weapon hiding in plain sight.